What's going on, boys? It's Flauz, and in this video, we're going to be talking about aim fundamentals in Counter-Strike. I think it makes sense to start with the most common mistakes people run into, right? So, aiming at the body as you're peeking into different angles is a super common one, and not being at head height as you're peeking into different angles, right? If I'm aiming at the body here and I hit 3 shots on the person and they get the nice headshot on me and I go down, that's a really bad situation for the start of the round, right? Also, if we're hitting a site, you want to be taking people out as fast as possible, right? You don't want to be just sitting there, aiming for the body as you're running into a site like this. I mean, that's exaggerating a little bit, but if people are like a little lazy with their crosshair placement as they're running into a site, and then they catch someone off guard who's like playing maybe deep car here, and I'm aiming too low, I have to adjust my crosshair up to their head, and in doing that, they can crouch down, and it makes it really awkward. I'd much rather be at head height as I'm peeking into this angle, hit that nice one-tap headshot. It makes it really tough for the person defending to actually hit that first bullet headshot on you, and if they're using an M4, it's obviously not a kill right away. So that's a really good way to have an advantage while you're peeking into different angles. Same thing goes for mid, right? If you're aiming at head height, it's a lot easier on a flat surface like mid, because then you can already be pre-aimed on the person's head height. You don't have to worry about angles and shifting up and down too much. Like if someone was playing in pit here, it's a little more awkward. But you can still kind of negate a lot of those different angles by aiming as far back as possible while you're clearing these angles. Same thing for like long, but always remember, like I said this in the first video, if you're clearing angles and time's not really a big issue, always be as far back as possible as you're chopping out different angles, right? As you're coming into the site. So here you're coming through here. Elevator's probably the next most likely spot someone's playing. Then we're going back to cat, okay? If anyone is peeking into me, it's a really easy adjustment down. It's always easier to adjust down than up, right? So keep that in mind. If you're here, it's tough to adjust upwards, and then from there, like, it's just always a much easier adjustment to go downwards than upwards. And if someone's at head height here, it's a lot easier to kill someone peeking into me. If I'm just have to tap a head, I can't really flick to a head, but I can flick to someone's body if they're peeking close. So keep that in mind. That's kind of more of like a Dust 2 specific thing, but it works for a lot of different angles as well. So right here, okay, I'm swinging to the B site, figuring out these different angles, right? I'm just pieing it, cutting out different corners. This is really good if you're playing like contact right onto a site. You can do this a lot more than if you're doing like a rush. But if you're doing a rush, you can do this like quickly, just without stopping, right? So here, okay, clearing out different angles as I'm clearing the site. As you can see, like I'm not really slowing down as I'm doing that, but I am clearing out angles and chopping into different ones that are like most common for someone to be there, right? And that just kind of lets my team still work behind me. If I do end up seeing someone, like someone's playing backside here, and I flick to them, I can still take this fight, and there's no problem in doing that because my team can still follow me up. Just remember to crouch, like I said in the first video. That way your team can peek behind you. They see where you're shooting, obviously, and they can trade that kill out, or they can fight that person with you. So that's kind of what I like to do as I'm clearing into sites. If I'm going to be holding a position that people are peeking into me, aim comes into play a little bit more here, because you don't really want to take those 1v1. Like, you don't want to take a 1v1 duel and then it's like a one and done situation if you're the only one on the site, right? You want to be in a position where you can get one, get out, or you can get one, get to safety, then let your team come in and help you defend the site, right? So if I'm playing B, let's say I get stuck car, I didn't realize that person backside went to mid, and I'm just playing in this position. If there's gonna be like peeking into me, I start to hear a lot of noise towards B. I tend to peek into this, right? The reason I'm peeking into this is because I know that they're not really worried about someone peeking close. They're more worried about people playing back a site that they're trying to catch off guard and push into. So you can almost always get at least one free kill here, and it's a lot tighter angle for me to hold, and my aim doesn't have to be insane, right? I can just peek into me. I can literally just hit my mouse 1 as I peek in and just kind of spam and hold this down, right? I don't really have to be sitting here where I have to hit this headshot. It's really awkward if someone comes out and jumps. I can't really hit that headshot and then readjust to the second person, right? If they jump, I have to try to hit that headshot. Okay, here. Now I'm readjusting the second person. 2 or 3 people have already poured out, and it's really tough for me to hold this site down, right? It's a pretty common thing. You can even see it in cat, right? If I'm playing cat here, okay, no one's lower. I start to hear a lot of people coming up cat. I always want to peek into this angle if I know that they're going to be trying to take a fight in a second, right? Because that way you catch them off guard. You have at least 2 or 3 shots before they can even get a shot off. You might even get a nice free headshot. Then you can back right off. You get a lot of info by doing that as well. You're still giving yourself a fight either way, but you're just making it so you have more of a chance of winning this duel than if you were to just sit back here, maybe they flash into you, maybe they're throwing nades, and you're kind of like relying on them to peek into you. And it's a lot harder to hit this shot than if you were up close, you know, taking that angle, taking that duel. That way you can also get out, throw some nades, reset, get your teammates involved with you, and you're just getting more information that way. At long, it's a little bit different, just because it's tough to play at this corner and peek into people because they can have someone posted, right? They can have someone already up close that's swinging out, and that person up close can cut you off before you can get to safety, whether it's car or towards CT. So for here, it's a little bit different. Like if you're at a corner like this, you almost want someone in pit, right? Because they can choose their angles a little bit more. They can choose their fights a little bit more. They can work around these different angles, use their nades, and they're a little bit more safe, right? When you're doing this. Also, just talking about aim, if you're playing here at long and someone swings out in front of you, you probably will get this first kill just because this is a pretty uncommon spot to play. But then how are you adjusting to that second person? Are you sitting deeper in the corner and letting them just kind of use their utility to burn you out? Or are you getting active, right? So you get that first kill. Are you peeking for that second kill, right? You also don't want to over peek. This is where it gets a little more complicated, right? Get that first kill. Am I over peeking to find the second and third kill? Or am I kind of just holding this angle down, making it so that they can't peek back into me, but at a more aggressive angle, right? So that way they're not just like, oh, okay, that first person died. Let me just swing into this. And then they have the advantage, right? You always want to be moving. You don't want to be too static when you're holding an angle, especially if it's like it's an angle that's going to be cleared by multiple people coming into the site. Like, let's go to B here. Show this position again. If I'm playing here and they're clearing out the site, they can choose if they want to peek from far back. They can choose if they want to peek up close. They can use utility. I'd much rather be at like a position like this at car, where I can still have some space to fight in, fight out, work around different spots here, and make it so it's a lot harder for them to clear me out. I'm going towards A. Let's talk about site. I'm playing here on site. I can choose my angles as I'm fighting, right? I can choose different fights. I can play goose. This is where goose becomes a problem, right? So if you only are taking contact when people are coming up to site right here, you just have to be ready that there could be multiple people who are swinging you at the same time. So you almost want to be like active in the corner, and you don't just want to be posted up here where it's like, okay, I have one play that I can make. There's no way I'm peeking into people. Once you get that first kill, you're almost committed to just holding this angle after that, right? So I like to take one or two steps out of the corner and then just hold from here. That way if people peek into you, you can spam down, you can get to a little bit more safety, right? You can cut the wall back, make yourself awkward, move a little bit, move in and out, and play around with that, where you're not just holding one angle, playing in one spot, and making it so that they can isolate you however they want, right? You always want to be in a spot where you can choose your different options and choose how you want to play the round out and how you want to use your utility to help you, hold a position or get out on the site. Like if I'm playing here and I get the kill, there's no way that I'm pulling out a Molotov and throwing it here, right? If I'm playing from a little more aggressive angle here, I get that first kill, there's a chance that I can throw a molly or throw a smoke or flash or whatever it is in that time frame where someone else could try to peek into me. So that's the whole thought process there of why you don't really hold as tight in corners as possible. And if you are, just make sure you have your gun out. You're not really switching to nades in that situation because you're not the one who's choosing when they're peeking into you, right? And when you're taking that engagement. I think that's pretty much it for holding angles for pushes. When you're holding for like let's say it's a 1v1 at the end of the round, and they're long, you're CT, and they're peeking into you, I like to hold angles that are tight like this, right? The reason for this is if they over peek, I have no problem just spamming a little bit, peeking back into my cover, and that way I can like reassess, I can throw nades, I can throw flashes, I can even just listen for footsteps. If they have to go plant the bomb, right, I can get to cover. If they peek into me, I hear them starting to step here, I peek into them, right? Because then I'm controlling the peek, I'm controlling the fight. There's a really good chance that even right here, as they're crossing, I hit that headshot as I'm not holding right up against the wall that they're peeking into, right? So if I'm holding here, there's not really good chance that I can react fast enough and hit that one tap. So I'm always giving myself just a little bit of room here, right? Okay, once they peek and I see like any shadow or foot or whatever comes through that wall right here, I'm just shooting, right? I'm just spamming, trying to keep my crosshair on the head, and then I'm unpeeking, right? There's a really good chance that they just show their foot right here before they even peek into me, and then I get that headshot as they peek in for that extra step or two. Always give yourself a little bit of room here. Like, don't be so wide over here that, you know, they can jiggle peek, and then you're at a real tough spot where they can just kind of go like this, shoulder peek. But if they do that, like, just spam that angle, just keep holding it down, right? Reset, wide peek, throw their aim off, right? Like, you never want to be in a spot where you're just sitting completely still, giving them like the most obvious peek. They can just like swing out and one tap you, right? So if they're here at a long angle like this, they peek out, oh, they see my head, they can just sit there and tap, right? And then it's basically a 50-50 duel of who wins. So keep that in mind, especially if there's like people coming into you, like multiple enemies that are trying to peek you. It doesn't really make sense to take 50-50 duels, but I think that covers most of the stuff I want to talk about today. I think as we go more towards actually like working on aiming and flicking, warm-up routines are huge for that. Like making sure you have a routine where you can kind of just walk around the map, maybe go into a deathmatch and just kind of just flick around the map as you're working through. Don't just sit in the same spot. Don't just sit and pit and, you know, hit these nice headshots as people are running up, unless it's something you're trying to work on, right? Try to move around the map. Try to get in those tough duels where you're caught off guard and someone shoots you in the back and you have to flick over to them and win that fight, right? Like that's when aim really does matter, is when you're kind of caught off guard. You're caught in a spot where they're flying through, they full blind you, they flash you, your vision's coming back. In those like quick milliseconds, that's when you have to adjust and hit those nice shots and work from there, right? So it's almost you're working on aim for when you're caught off guard and you get put in a position where you have to rely on aim to win the duel, right? So I think that's basically it of what I want to cover today on aim fundamentals. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. I'm happy to answer. I hope this helped you guys out, and we're going to be talking a little bit more about more fundamentals in future videos. So I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.